Yeah, it's funny because when I showed the guys in my band that song, it was like I already have like a heavy male audience because oil rigs and military history and cowboy shit, and they're like, "Oh, great, more dudes at the shows."
Welcome to Muttering Pines, the show where us city folk try to cowpoke. We drink beer, talk about ATVs, life outside the city, homesteading, entrepreneurship, and ultimately trying to do stuff with our hands.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Scott, guess what?
Tell me what, Darren.
Tell me more.
Because I have all those logs that I want to turn into boards.
Yes. Oh, yes. This chainsaw jig, not a good machine.
Jade has put together... Did I send you the picture?
No, Jade is put together. You're going to die. You're a dead man.
Yeah, Jade's rebuilt a chainsaw for me.
Oh, is it like a rancher style one?
Oh, it's better than that.
Yeah.
No.
It's got 3 times the power of our saws. Like, it has 6.5 horsepower.
Oh, God.
Compared to 1.7 or something?
Yeah, absolutely. That's twice as much as my water pump, and it's like 300 feet in the ground and has to lift water.
Well,
that's incredible.
As Matt put it, it's more than a lawnmower.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
You have to literally carry around a lawnmower in your hands.
Oh, you're going to die. You're certainly going to die. The chain of this thing is going to snap off and sever your head. That is going to be this is going to be the last episode of the podcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
All right. Yeah. When you next time we see you, you're either going to be one arm or one leg. So we're either going to make fun of you for being no dexterity or stumpy.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to spend all your time trying to hop up into a tailgate with one leg, and it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, it's I'm excited. I'm excited for it to split me in half.
So when do you get this? When are we going to get this?
We'll pick it up on the spring trip.
Oh my God, we're all going to die. You're going to kill all of us. You're going to fell a heritage cedar on us, and then you're going to cut your leg off and die.
No, we'll get it going, and then it'll just take up into the air like a helicopter.
It is a helicopter.
It's going to be like Mary Poppins' umbrella, where you just hold on to it and it's like, where am I going today? Oh, look, some rancher needs my help. You're going to be the littlest hobo with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just keep moving on. Do.
Except Alan. Alan's going to be fine. He's going to have to watch it all, poor bastard.
Because he's already dead?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You greet us on both sides.
So, speaking of a rancher, but not the chainsaw, I think this will probably be our final episode of the season because we're fairly music focused. And I think we're going to go out on a high note on this one. This episode,
low note? A flat, B flat,
A minor would be a low note. Yeah,
a little minor. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll go out on a higher one, like maybe a D or something. I don't know music theory, so this might not work. We get to talk to one of my favorite singer and songwriters of the whole country, if not country music genre, tonight. And I'm so excited. I don't think that I'm going to be able to do this properly without being giddy and fumbly because I'm pretty excited that we are talking to Corb Lund this episode. For some reason.
He's on our show for some reason none of us really understand.
But I want to know, like, how did you get a hold of him? Did you, like, bribe him? Did you... I don't understand.
I don't say it was like... It's kind of like bribery, but...
Oh, it's blackmail.
I've taken all his horses, and they are... He'll get them back.
And that's why he's written so many sad songs, because you stole all his horses.
Exactly. let's get into it. Without further ado. Right on. Corb, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm kind of busy, but I'm good. They're working me like a rented mule.
It sounds just over like social media. It sounds like you're busy. You've got a huge tour coming up. You've been on tour. You think you were just at the Opry, weren't you?
Yeah. And then this coal business blew up again too. It takes a lot of time. We talk about that later.
Are you ranching right now? Or?
No, I don't raise cows myself. I'm on the road too much. I'm renting my grass at the moment to some people, neighbors.
And it is grass right now because there's no snow.
Yeah.
It's pretty dry winter.
Yeah.
How's that? How do you think that's going to affect things down there?
Oh, it's crisis mode, man. It's terrible. It's really bad. Like even last year, we've been in a multi-year drought already. And like last year, like my buddies at Irrigate, I think the allocation is only last year's like inches per acre allocation was, I think, 2/3 of what it normally is. And this year, I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be low. It's going to be like a lot of guys are going to have to not raise irrigated crops, I think. I mean, unless we get a big spring or something, but it's like crisis for sure.
Yeah. Pincher Creek, this past week, the river fell below intake levels. So
I read that.
Water for it.
Yeah, I read that.
That's insane. Yeah, it's been rough. I imagine most of the place will be on fire come summer.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah, it's going to be gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you're out touring, so that's good.
Yeah.
Like
we leave in about a week. We're doing Canada for a month, and then the States for 6 weeks, and then Europe for a month.
Yeah, you're kicking off in Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrific. And so, how long will you be on the road for this tour? Well,
I'm out till the end of June with a week or so off here and there in between tours, but mostly till June, and then July we got a bunch of festivals, so I'll be pretty busy till probably end of July.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, nice. it's we've been playing somewhat, but mostly the last few months have been focused on getting the record ready to release and all that stuff.
Yeah. So when did you start recording your new album?
Probably 6 months ago. That's usually how it goes. There's kind of a lag between when you record it and then put it out because you got to print the vinyl and make the art and, promote it and all that stuff. So probably 6 months ago.
Yeah, that Saddle, by the way, the Saddle album cover is just gorgeous. And
yeah, it's cool.
I wanted to ask you about that. Is that saddle a real? Like, is that real? Is that a photograph or is that an illustration? Where's that saddle from?
It's a picture of my grandpa's saddle. He rode it every year for his whole 40 years, probably. I think it's a Texas maker. I think it's called Vela. Vela makes it.
Huh.
But yeah, it's in my living room. So yeah, that cover's cool. It's like half cowboy, half punk rock, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think like Art Bergman might come off of his farm and take note of that one. Yeah.
This album is really cool, especially for me. One, because that old familiar drunken feeling has been living rent free in my head for 2 days since you released it. And it's an amazing song, and it's driving me fucking bananas because I wake up every morning singing it, and I'm like, "Come on!"
It's a true story, 100% true story.
I was gonna ask, yeah, that's cool. So
that's back
like
when
100% not embellished at all.
Not in the least. In fact, I left a bunch of shit out.
That's awesome.
But it was right when Colorado first legalized, like way before us, right? Like I don't know if that's 10 years ago. I don't know. But it was really unique at that time. So I think they're the first state to do it. So we all went to the dispensary just because we thought it'd be interesting and fun because that was a new thing. It was kind of novel. And then we all ate a gummy bear. And a couple of my guys are pot guys, so they didn't bother them. But it was me and the drummer were fucked.
That's
like all day long. Like it wouldn't go away. It was brutal.
Yeah.
That sounds like that's what would happen to me, and I'd just
it's funny. It's funny. I'm in support of pot if it's your thing. Like I think should be legal, but it's just not my flavor of choice. I'm a beer guy.
See, yeah, that's the same. Like Matt here and myself are like no problems. I've done weed and everything, and I prefer an old fashioned myself, or a beer. And Scott is 900% into weed.
I am the resident pothead for
different strokes, right? I mean, I know friends that it's a big part of their life and it helps them so great, but
yeah,
not my thing.
No, that's fair. But this album, so this is dedicated to / inspired by Ian Tyson?
Yeah. He was a good buddy of mine for about 20 years.
That's awesome. I grew up listening to him. My dad, I think, listened to him religiously. So when
I mean, if you're from Alberta, rural Alberta, he's a pretty big part of the landscape, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was a huge part of my life. So yeah, when I heard that was the sole basis for this, I was like, this is sweet. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like every song's dedicated or is inspired by him, but yeah, the whole effort was, and the title track is about him and our friendship, and yeah.
That's really cool. We interviewed a couple of people from the States, particularly in the southeastern states, and they knew Ian Tyson too. They knew his work, and I mean they're they're musicians like you are, and so they're pretty steeped in all of that kind of thing. And they were sad at his passing and knew his material, and their connection to it was through Coulter Wall. Oddly,
really?
was how they were familiar with him, and so it was nice to see an artist in Alberta with that sort of influence over people that are living in a totally different place than them.
Yeah, he's really well known in the cowboy community all the way down to Texas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to explain to some Texans that he didn't write or that he wrote Navajo Rug because a guy named Jerry Jeff Walker made it famous down there, but they think he wrote it, but he didn't write it. Ian wrote it.
Oh, really?
I think that's happened a few times, that someone in the States will cover a Canadian song, and there's a little bit of education that has to go towards that.
Yeah, and not just Canadian songs, but sometimes they have a songwriter that writes something and then somebody else makes it famous regardless of where they're from. But yeah, it happens. Usually the songwriter's happy because they get a pretty good check. So
fair enough.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Fair enough. I want to ask you about one of your other songs that's not on this album, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Since you've mentioned that Old Familiar Drunken Feeling was 100% true. My favorite of yours, the S Lazy H.
Yeah.
How much is that rooted in a reality that you've seen versus just I know this is a thing that happens type?
Yeah, it's an amalgam. It's interesting because all the details in the song, like the two kids and the one going out east to go to school and one wanting to be a pilot and all that. That's all my buddy's life story. It's actually Scott Holtman from the Truck Song.
Oh yeah,
he's my childhood friend. My dad was his dad's vet, but their place is safe. In fact, his dad is the guy who I know that's the most educated about agricultural estate planning. So they're fine. But I just use that setting. And then in terms of actually losing the place, that's a story I've heard a lot of times. So yeah, I mean, it's an amalgam of different things, but it's not the whole thing as a piece isn't literally true. So that's good news, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not far beyond the reaches of the imagination.
No, it happens all the time. In fact, now that it's been recorded, almost everywhere I play in the West, all the way down to the States, is if almost every time I play that song, there's somebody almost in tears because they're going through it. It's bad.
Yeah,
I can see that one. That one swells me up a little bit. So see if you're actually about to lose your ranch, it would hit home. Yeah,
it's a tearjerker. I mean, I've got a lot of friends who've gone through that. And there's always one sibling that just doesn't care and wants the money, right? And then that causes the trouble because no one has that much cash, right?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
The best thing, I've actually told people that song really what it's about is estate planning. Because what has to happen is the dad and the mom have to sit down and decide what they want to have happen, have a meeting with the kids and tell them what's going to happen and then will it that way. And it makes it way more... Well, it's harder to challenge. Plus, I mean, it's just better for the kids if they know what the dad and the mom want, right? It just makes it a lot harder for everybody to because if they don't, then every kid has a different idea of what should happen. And some of those old boys think they're going to live forever, so they don't do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
But it's really important in ag world. I mean, it's no different than a family business, really. I've had people come to me who are urban people who say that it's the same thing with a generational family business, same thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the one thing you have to think about is, one kid will go off and do something totally different, and the other kid will spend his whole adult life building the business. So how do you quantify that? Obviously the one kid should get something, but probably not half because they didn't build it for the last 35 years of the other kid's adult life, right? So it's a very tricky equation. It's a tricky equation sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a song on your new album that you feel will hit as hard as that, or that you want to hit as hard as that, in terms of like people being like, oh yeah, that's
so far the Tyson one is hitting that way. I mean, if you know him, if you don't know him, it might be a nice song, but if you know who he is and what he stands for. And actually, surprisingly, I've had a lot of people respond to that MMA song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that so?
Yeah. I mean, different people.
Why do you think that is?
Just because I've had a whole bunch of people online say, yeah, I used to, I'm a retired fighter and I totally get it, that kind of thing.
Oh, wow. That's good territory to be in.
Yeah. It's funny because when I showed the guys in my band that song, it was like, I already have like a heavy male audience because, oil rigs and military history and cowboy shit. And they're like, oh, great, more dudes at the shows, right? But yeah, I like that tune. It's cool. I'm always looking for interesting things to write about that maybe I think that might be the first ever, acoustic or country MMA tune.
You should check into that because I think you might be right.
I'm pretty sure. Like I looked, like there's probably, it wouldn't surprise me if there's some rap songs or urban songs or whatever, but I don't think there's any. There's some boxing tunes, but no MMA songs. I still have all those VHS tapes from the 90s, like from UFC 1 to 10 that are on VHS. Hoist Gracie and all that, Ken Shamrock and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot.
It was weird
Ken
back
Shamrock.
then. A friend of mine is a big MMA fan, and he was just talking about those early seasons the other day and how like lawless that whole sport was. And like there was a story he was relaying about in Chicago. They had to like have police around because punching with a closed fist was illegal, and so there was like a slap fight in the first season because if they balled up a fist, they were going to get arrested right away. Like it was like a whole ordeal that I didn't know about.
Well, I think a lot of times in the early days it was subject to local laws and stuff and regulations, right? And everyone was kind of suspect of it. But yeah, it's funny because like in the early days they'd have the ring girls would have those signs that said like sumo versus ninja or whatever Yeah, so it's come along.
Just make up whatever.
It's come a long way, but it's because back then it was now like everyone trains everything and they figured out what works and what doesn't. But in the early days, it was just like different disciplines thrown in a ring together, right?
Yeah, they're just exactly. That's right. It was the mixed was more appropriate than the martial arts part. Yeah, they've been doing it in Brazil and in Japan for a lot longer. But yep. So you mentioned when we started just about coal, and we wanted to ask you about that because you made a remark last week about the application for an open pit coal mine coming in, and this is not the first time it's come in either. This has been tossed out at least one other time by government, and so your point of view on this is that is part of our natural landscape, and it should be for us and not developed. Is that right? Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, the number one thing that's staring us all in the face is it's like water, right? Like it's a terrible idea to begin with, but in the middle of a multi-year drought, it's just like asinine. Like because coal mining is a thirsty business. There's the quantity issue and the quality issue. They need a lot of water to run coal mines, and where's that going to come from? The Old Man River, I imagine, and which is dry, or the aquifers. Same thing. It's a zero-sum game, right? And then quality is an issue too, because almost every coal mine contaminates the groundwater with something called selenium, which is
really messes up the fish. And if it gets enough concentration that humans can't drink it, like in the Elk Valley, in Sparwood and Fernie, they've had to find new municipal water sources in new wells because the wells had too much selenium that was past the government guidelines for human safety. Yeah. So it's like, it's just, and another, to tear the roof, the tops off the mountains for a handful of jobs and a low royalty rate, and foreign companies doing it, so they're making all the money, and they send all the coal to Asia. Why are we doing this? Like, I bend over backwards to say that every interview about this. A, I'm not partisan. I don't like any of the political parties. I'm not for any party. I think they're all a bunch of crooks. B, I'm not anti-resource. Like, I'm not naive about it. I'm not a crazy hippie. Like, it's just that every project has to be looked at on its own merits, and this one is really stupid. And it goes hand in hand. Like, the one we're fighting right now is near the Crow's Nest Pass, called Grassy Mountain. And yeah, the Joint Review Panel 2 years ago, that's a review panel made up of provincial and federal people, declined their application to mine because it wasn't in the public interest because of water and the mountains and stuff. And they appealed it, and the appeal was not heard. And the public opinion on it is like 80% against it, which is unheard of for anything. And still, now somehow they've allowed them to reapply again, and we've got to say no to these people again. And it's like, how many times do we have to say no to foreign coal companies? And I don't know anyone who wants them except for a handful of people in the past who want the jobs and the politicians. So I don't know who's behind this, or who paid who, or who's made deals that we don't know about, but they're just upset. Like, I can't believe the political capital that they're expending on coal mines that nobody wants. Like, it's the PCs the UCP didn't win by all that much. I'm surprised that they're still pursuing this. But some of the people I talk to about this think that I'm being too bombastic with my language about corruption and stuff. But I just found out, maybe everybody already knows this, I didn't know this, but Jason Kenney, our premier, ex-premier, we have freedom of information documents that show that his representatives of his government were meeting with the coal companies before they rescinded the coal policy. And then they rescinded our coal policy that opened up huge tracts of protected land in the eastern slopes to mining that had been protected since the 70s by Lougheed. Mm-hmm. And then there was a big public outcry about it, and they had to walk that back. And now all the foreign coal companies, a bunch of them are suing the Alberta taxpayer for $10 billion, right? And it's all because of Kenney's government making these backroom deals and not having any public consultation on it. And now I find out, and this blows my mind, but now I find out that the law firm Bennett Jones out of Calgary, that's representing most of the coal companies in this effort to sue the Alberta taxpayer for $10 billion, has Kenney on their board as a senior advisor. So it's like a Meryl Streep movie, right? It's like the guy who's
an advisor for anything.
The guy that got us into this is now against the public because and they'll tell you, he's not involved in that file. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. To me, that's clear corruption. And I'm not saying it's illegal. It's probably legal because they leave themselves loopholes, but it's dirty and it's greasy. And it's not how I was raised. It's like, that's like clearly. And another thing, when I got into the coal thing, I wanted to be educated about it. So I had meetings with dozens of people across, like, including pro coal people, like some of the CEOs and some of the government people. The third person I talked to was named Robin Campbell. He's the head of the Canadian Coal Association, which is basically a lobby group for the coal industry in Canada. He's the head of it. He went right from his job as our environment minister to that job. So if you have those two examples in front of your face, it's pretty hard not to take a guess at why these guys are pushing this stuff so hard, right? Mm-hmm. And that's crazy. I wasn't brought into this by ecological-minded, left-wing, crazy tree-hugging people. And I got lots of friends like that, and that's all good. I'm cool with that, too. But that's not who brought me into this. It was ranching families that were going to have their places wrecked. And, since then, I've talked to fishermen and hunters and outfitters and all kinds of people, including people in the Crow's Nest Pass who aren't in favor of this at all. And I don't know. Like I said, I'm not against all resources. It's just this is a dumb idea. And one more thing, and then I'll shut up, is that anybody who's fiscally conservative should be against this, because I stake my reputation pretty much on the prediction that if the coal mines go in somewhere down the line, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, the taxpayer is going to be on the hook for the cleanup, just like we are on the orphan wells. And it's like they never, ever, it's the business model. They never, ever factor in the actual cleanup costs. I'm going to sound like a communist, but it's a fact that in almost all of these situations, the privatized profits go to the companies and then the public absorbs the cleanup bill. It's the cleanup bill is socialized. Right. So it's like, you know, and I know how that's how the world works, but I've never spoken about anything politically in my whole career. But this, I personally drink the water out of the old man downstream from the mine they want to put in Crow's Nest Pass. So does my family. So do my animals. So, yeah. And I'm also, I'm not a guy coming in from LA on a jet to scold people. I live here. I'm sixth generation Albertan. I drink the water myself. It's like, fuck you guys.
Totally.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad you brought that up. The that moment where DiCaprio was filming The Revenant and he thought that Chinooks were caused by climate change was real dopey. I thought, and
it didn't do his
somebody in his PR team should have warned him that he was saying the wrong thing. That's
why before I spoke out about this, I did about 2 months of research and interviews and learned about the issue, because I didn't want to speak out about something that ended up being on the wrong side of history, right? But yeah, the more I looked into it, not only is it a bad idea, it's dirty and corrupt and it's gross.
Yeah.
Well, even if you think of like the reclamation side of it, like you said, like lopping the top off a mountain, like if you put in a SAG-D well or 20 SAG-D wells, you can reclaim that area and it'll look just like it did 10 years later. But you can't put the top of a mountain back on.
Recap a mountain. Yeah.
Like,
no, it's true.
That's a billion years worth of rocks touching each other in inappropriate places to make that mountain happen.
Yeah, they talk about reclamation. I mean, they might be able to make a golf course out of it or something, but there's no way to replace that ecosystem, right?
No.
But
this is like pretty close to home for you, so I feel like maybe we're going to hear a song about it in the near future, perhaps.
That was my follow-up too. So yeah, does this make an appearance on the album?
Not the new record, no. It's funny because I wrote a song years ago that was kind of ended up predicting it. It's called "This Is My Prairie," and it's like that was a mostly fiction, and it's kind of come true. But yeah, I've got a bunch of ideas for songs about this. I don't know. My thing with I don't mess around with my music though. Like it's got to be a good song first, and then I you know, if the message is there, great. But it's got to be worthy of musically worthy too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds like we were talking to Del Barber, and he's got a very similar theory on writing music. Is it has to tell a good story.
Yeah,
that's like the first and foremost thing that's got to happen.
Del's awesome. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
Del's great.
He's a good dude. Yeah.
He
goes fishing every year around Norbuck.
Right. Okay.
Nordegg.
And so he's sort of, or Nordegg, pardon me. So he's sort of familiar with the province from that point of view. And and I think a part of the province that a lot of people don't really think of when they're thinking about doing outdoorsy stuff in central West Alberta around Tasquin County and that. So yeah, he's a good dude. Yeah,
he fishes quite seriously, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he does all that stuff seriously, but sort of plays it off as if he doesn't. Like he sent us this photo of him with a monster whitetail, and he was like, just Tuesday for me. And we were looking at it, like thinking, why are we not living in Manitoba where all the animals are dinosaurs still?
It was a big one. I know we're probably running short on time here, Corb, but we usually do a little bit of like a quick fire. I don't want to say it's trivia, but it's like a this or that.
Okay.
Do you have a sec to do it?
Yeah, sure.
So basically, I'm going to give you two things, and you got to pick one. Easy.
YouPorn or Pornhub?
Yeah, that's basically exactly what you're going to get trapped into here in a second. That's right.
You got to answer it now.
I prefer to make my own boutique porn.
Ooh, yeah. I like it. The webcam. All right, we'll sign up for that. I'm sure.
Put that on Patreon or something. Yeah.
Kananaskis or Dinosaur Provincial?
Oh, that's tough. Different appeals. Can't ask us, but I really like the dinosaur. I like the park too.
Yeah.
I got a friend from Virginia who's obsessed with dinosaurs, and we took her there, and her brain exploded.
I was going to say
to the museum. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
My kid and I just slept over there not too long ago for scouts. I didn't know that they let you sleep under the dinosaurs. It was bananas.
Oh, really? Yeah. You know, that's a good question though, because we're blessed with a lot of great places in this province.
There is quite a diversity between like going from the mountains to like Badlands within an hour and a half.
Yeah, totally.
It's cool. Okay, poker or blackjack?
Poker.
Bull riding or chucks?
Probably bull riding.
Vegas or Nashville?
Vegas, 100% all day long.
Oh, that I did not see coming. You got to talk more about that. Are you talking
hockey, or you mean the city?
Anything. I'm talking.
Well, I don't really like either of the hockey teams, but the city I much prefer Vegas.
Yeah.
All right. Huh.
Childers or Stapleton?
That's tough. They're both awesome. Childers by a nose only, though.
Oh, okay.
I'm playing with him in PEI this summer.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. At the Cavendish Festival.
That's awesome.
Have you played that festival before?
Once. It's fun.
Yeah.
I traded a guy like 4 tickets on the guest list for like a huge cooler of fresh lobster on ice.
Wow, that's the most PEI way to experience
it was
PEI.
like, I don't know, I guess it was in season, I guess, and I brought him back home, and I was eating them like bananas, like we had so many of them. Like just peeling them and eating them. It was
to hand a lobster.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, that's a deal I would make. Lobster from PEI? Absolutely. Speaking of that, fish or hunt?
Hunt.
All right.
By a nose. You're giving me, these are difficult. Like you're saying like good versus even better.
I know. Calgary or Edmonton?
When we said it is like trying to choose between YouPorn and Pornhub.
Yeah, it is.
It's tough.
Well, it's tough too. Oilers for sure. Calgary has an edge in the city just because it's close to home, and my family's got a real deep history with the Stampede. But I did spend 25 years in Edmonton, and a lot of good people there too.
Mm-hmm.
Cold as balls, and there's no Chinooks.
Yeah,
that's the downside. Yeah. Okay, this is the one I picked that I felt was the hardest, but maybe it'll be easy for you. Navajo rug or MC horses?
MC horses.
Okay, that was not.
Quick.
Yeah, MC horses.
As I thought.
I mean, I like them both, but yeah.
Wow. What if I did 4 Strong Winds or Navajo rug?
4 Strong Winds.
Yeah. Okay. It's not.
I mean, I like Navajo rug. 4 Strong Winds is. I mean, it's funny because when I was just a child, before I knew about Ian Tyson at summer camp, 4 Strong Winds was in the counselor's typed out guitar song booklet, like along with like Sloop John B and Kumbaya and stuff. So I thought it was like a traditional. That song's so good it sounds like a traditional. It's also possibly the best reference to Alberta ever on record, I think.
So would you say that's your favorite then?
Ian Tyson song?
Yeah.
No. I got some deep cuts.
Okay. What is it?
There's one called La Primera, about the first horses that the Spanish brought to North America. And there's one called The Road to Las Cruces, about New Mexico. And there's one called The Elko Blues, about, I don't know what it's about, but it's cool. And there's one called This Is My Sky, about the Ravens at his place. There's lots of good ones.
Huh. All right.
Oh, and there's one called Rodeo Road from the old days. It's really good.
Oh, yeah. See, the two I remember when my dad was playing it all the time that would circulate, and one, obviously, like Coulter just did it, was Coyote and the Cowboy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the one I always heard was Joaquima de Freno.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good deep cut for sure. Do you know what that means?
I haven't listened to it intensely in a while, so I'm going to say no.
Hakima de Freno in Spanish means hackamore to bit. It's how the Spanish vaqueros train their horses. Like a hackamore is a bridle that doesn't have a bit.
Okay.
Oh. So they start them on a hackamore and they move them to the bit. So that song's Hakima de Freno means hackamore to bit.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
In fact, hackamore is a bastardization, like an English bastardization of the word Hakimo. Like the Spanish would say Hakima, and the English cowboys heard it and said hackamore.
Really?
Wow.
Same as the word buckaroo is an English bastardization of vaquero. Like vaquero means vaca means cowboy, or it means cow in Spanish. So vaquero is cowboy, and so the English would hear vaquero and translate as buckaroo.
Because we're awesome like that.
Yeah.
It's mostly Texans, I suspect.
I didn't know that. Wow. I learned something.
No, me either.
Your new tour, is it going to be mostly your new album?
No. We'll play 4 or 5 off the new one, but we'll play a bunch of old stuff too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My wife and I are currently trying to sort out childcare so we can be at the Grey Eagle.
Oh yeah, that should be good. I've never played there. Everybody says it's fun.
Apparently that venue is very good for the size of it. Like apparently musicians that play there really enjoy it. Like it's well set up. They have good people there. So I'm excited to hear how that concert goes. Yeah,
that's what I've heard too. We're doing March in Canada, April, May, about 6 weeks in the States, and then June we're doing a whole month in Europe with the Dead South from Saskatchewan.
Oh, I love the Dead South.
Oh,
they
cool.
do like 5,000 people over there. We're playing Western Europe, but we're also playing like Prague and Bratislava and Budapest with them. It's gonna be super cool.
Wow!
And you're doing
that's terrific.
Is it 49 Winchester that's with you?
In Canada, yeah.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
We just heard about them out of because they're out of Virginia.
Yeah, that's right. They're kind of blowing up. Actually, they're really good.
Sweet, I'm excited.
This is continuing my role of bringing quality American underground country music to Canadians. I brought Hayes Carl up here a bunch of times, and the Turnpike Troubadours, and I think American Aquarium, and John Evans. So yeah, that's what I play. I play with all those guys in the States, and then it's cool to bring them up here.
What do they think of it up here?
Oh, they always have a blast. I don't actually know 49 Winchester much. The other bands I mentioned, I already knew them first because we toured with them in the States, but I haven't met these guys. We've texted, but we're all excited about it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it should be a blast. And you're just here for the day, and then you're...
Do you ever spend...
What's that?
Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying, do you ever spend any time at home?
Not much.
You're always
not enough. It's becoming a problem. But yes, when I go to the ranch when I can. But yeah, I've been working my butt off since COVID lifted.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a hit for you at all, or
what?
COVID? Was it?
Economically, like everybody, but it was actually I really liked it. Like I stayed home, and I haven't had 2 years at home since high school, and so I played guitar and wrote songs and built a bunch of carpentry projects, and it was awesome.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
I mean, like aside from the politics of it and all that, but it's just in terms of like having downtime. Like I would have never taken off 2 years of my own accord, but it is what it is. So I made the most of it.
What's your favorite carpentry project? Man, that was tough. What did you build?
Nothing crazy. I built some stairs, and I built a cedar box for the pump of my hot tub, and just bullshit that I should have done a long time ago and never had time.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're making sourdough like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You got that going for you. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, that was you. Awesome. I'm excited to see you. I'm really going to be disappointed if I don't get any childcare lined up. And we
if you got tickets, that's a pretty lame reason not to come.
Yeah, just drop them off at our place, Darren. We'll look after the little bastards.
and then you'll be dead.
Yeah, that's right.
I think last time I saw you was at Stampede 2 years ago. You were at
Nashville North.
Yeah, no, not Nashville North. It was Knox. Was it the Knox?
Oh, you're right. Wild Horse.
Wild Horse Saloon. Yeah,
I remember that one being a very drunk audience.
Yeah,
that was Darren.
That's how I remember being.
Yeah, you're staring in his eyes.
What you remember is seeing Darren in the crowd is what's going on there.
Yeah. We got there too early. I was like, we got to get there early, and then you had to drink, and then it was slippery slope.
It was all downhill from there.
That happens.
Yeah.
Well, I'd if I didn't have another couple of interviews, I'd stick around, but I probably should bail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Your new album's out now wherever you can stream it.
Yeah.
And we'll have to do this again, Corb. Thank you again, and
sure.
Hopefully we get to grab a beer sometime.
Yeah, I'll be on the road forever, so I'll be out there.
Punk rock saddle is the thing that I added to my lexicon today. I love it. Punk rock saddle is my new favorite thing.
Nice.
Right.
Right on.
It was good to meet you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
See you later.
Have a good tour.
So long.
Yeah. Anyway, that was great.
I can't believe he came on with us.
I can't either. I really I could hear the surprise in my wife's voice when I told her.
Yes.
Yeah.
My wife also was surprised.
So was mine. What?
Yeah, right? Corb? Why is he talking to you?
His comment, because I was just like starstruck the whole time because I'm a moron. But when he made that comment about not being affiliated to any, like he's not politically affiliated one way or the other because he thinks they're all criminals and slime balls, I was just like, yeah, that's my guy. Yeah. That's how I feel. I hate
good options. Yeah.
That was like, that hit home.
Yeah. Yeah, his connection with the Old Man River Valley and the coal mining thing, when I first kind of heard that somebody was talking about it as a celebrity, I'm like, well, you don't have any stake in it. And then you start hearing it's Corb, and he lives in this valley. I'm like, I didn't know he lived there. I thought he was from there originally, but not that he still lived there.
Yeah, and how he drinks the water.
Yeah. How educated on the topic he was and how well spoken he is. Holy moly. I couldn't believe it.
He wrote the most beautiful song about Ian Tyson on that album. It's just a wonder. Like it's Order of Canada kind of stuff, if you ask me. It's beautiful.
Gorgeous song. I forgot we were pretty limited, but I forgot to ask him about Redneck Rehab. He co-wrote that with another girl that he's done some songs with before. But I don't know if you've listened to Redneck Rehab, but it is catchy and it is fun.
I have not heard of it.
I haven't heard it.
I'll look it up.
I'll have to listen to it.
Yeah.
And I
basically
can't touch
means
my
you can't
browser
afford to go to
it.
As a redneck, you don't afford to go to like a Betty Ford kind of place. You're just thrown in a trailer out back for 6 weeks.
Yeah. How much are his tickets for his
the ones I'm looking at are about $150 a pop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why has everything got to be so expensive?
Yeah.
Oh well. Listen to his album.
It's a good album.
It's a good album. It absolutely is.
I like all his albums, but
yeah.
This one's really good. And I like that he's always got a bit of humor in them too.
Yeah. He's clearly a funny guy. He certainly made me laugh. And interviewer, we're supposed to be interviewing him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous prospect that we could interview him.
Took my Pornhub joke. Jeez.
Jesus. Yeah, he is just an articulate, friendly guy. Like I was, I mean, being starstruck's one thing, but he's just a captivating person.
Absolutely.
He absolutely is.
It's fun.
Good way to end this season.
So what's next?
Oh God. Yes.
What's next?
Yeah, I think Spring Trip's coming up, isn't it?
Spring Trip and
which will be a snuff film. The snuff film known as Spring Weekend 2024.
Yeah,
like
I think we'll
Blair
probably go.
Witch for rednecks. Terrible.
We'll
It's
try and
Alberta
pick a different...
Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, exactly. If we survive, we'll have a different theme for next season that won't be so music heavy.
When they find and unlock your iPhone, they're going to be horrified. Just horrified by what happened. Just the sheer stupidity of it. Yeah. They'll put think pieces up about how dumb we were.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. All right.
So on that note,
we'll see you guys later.
Keep on chooching.
Good times.
Yeah. Oh, God. We're going to chooch British Columbia. It's going to be awful.
Hey, nobody. Don't forget to check out mutteringpines.com for our line of apparel and follow us on social and anywhere you listen to or watch your favorite podcasts. And remember, keep on chooching.